You are listening to the Navigating Adult ADHD podcast with your ADHD coach and expert, Zena. Hello, my beautiful ADHD friend. Welcome to episode 100. OMG. To celebrate 100 episodes, and because we all need the reminder sometimes, this episode today is 100 positive things about ADHD. And I am so excited because I have been collating this list for a long time. And we're going to share it. It's actually one of my favorite sessions to do with a client is the ADHD strengths session, because we can fill up my whiteboard. I've got a huge whiteboard, but we can fill it up with things so quickly. And it's so fun. Now, before we dive into that, I just wanted to let you know that I actually have a free masterclass coming up. So I'm hosting a training later in February, 4 steps to an easier and happier life after an ADHD diagnosis. So this is all about how to work with your ADHD brain to ultimately make life easier and happier. So I am going to be hosting that class live online, Zoom, on Zoom, meaning, my friend, you can literally turn up in your pajamas if that's what you want to do, okay? So here's what you get in this class. You're going to get an hour-long masterclass packed with ADHD-friendly insights. I'm also going to give you easy-to-use tools and strategies tailored specifically for the ADHD brain. It's not going to be overwhelming at all. I'm going to give you a workbook, right, to help you apply what you have learned and remember what you learned. I'm going to give you my personal knowledge, lived experience to help guide you, and you're going to have a recording you can watch anytime within the 7 days. So this is happening on Thursday, the 20th of February at 12 p.m. lunchtime here in New Zealand. As I said, it's on Zoom, so you can watch it anywhere, and you won't be on camera, just me, all right? So I'm going to drop a link for that for you to go and register for that, save your seat. I highly recommend that you come along because I wanted to share with you a couple of things people have said in this class when I've run it previously. So one woman said, I gained more knowledge from you on that Zoom class than I have in over 40 years. Wow. And somebody else said, no one has ever explained any of these things to me. And these things made so much sense. All right, so I'm going to drop the link for that in the show notes, or you can head over to navigatingadultadhd.com and you will see right at the top there's a little green banner that's saying register here for the class. All right, and you can click there to save your seat. I would love to have you there. All right, did I mention it's totally free, right? So don't worry about that. I got you. So my friend, 100 positives of ADHD. Let's get into it, right? And 100 podcast episodes. Holy shit. I just needed to take a minute and breathe and be like, wow, I did this thing 100 times. How cool is that, right? Us ADHDers can do things like with this kind of consistency. It just doesn't look like what we think consistency should look like. Right? That's a whole other podcast episode, right? All right, let's dive into it. All right. Number 1, we like to try new things. I think that is one of the most fun things. Like I've got the saying, I will do anything once. I'll try anything once, like within reason, obviously, but like I will try anything once. I think that's so good. Number 2, we've got millions of ideas, right? I'm actually not going to call them out. I think I'm going to call out every 5. We are the disruptors, right? We disrupt things. We create change. And I love that. We are excellent in a crisis. Number 5, we don't follow other people's rules, or we're willing to question them, right? Another one that I love, we can spot one of our own a mile away. Right? I don't know about you, but like when I go to an event and I don't know anyone, like I'm kind of like looking for us. If I spot one of us, I'm like, yes, you are my person. I'm going to go hang with you, right? We can spot one of our own. We are creative, so creative. We create like the most incredible things in the world. Like we are often, artists, creatives of different types, like musicians, but we are just incredibly creative in the way in which we think. We make excellent entrepreneurs. Hi. But we do, right? So many of us go on to become an entrepreneur because we are so good at it, right? We're incredibly resilient, right? My friend, I think you know that one is true. Like, I feel that one deeply. We are very resilient. Number 10, we have excellent problem-solving skills. And I think that's because, like, we can think outside the box. Like, we think differently, which I love, right? We're spontaneous. That one's fun. We can be fearless, right? Like, sometimes we just say yes without necessarily thinking it through. And of course, that can come with some consequences. But often, like, that can lead to some incredible experiences, right? We can just be very fearless at times. We are intuitive. Like, we know things before other people do. You know, like, we can see things, observe things, just pick up on things without necessarily being able to explain it. Like, we just know things. That's a pretty cool skill to have, right? And we see connections that other people miss. Number 15, we think outside the box, right? We're the people like climbing all over the box. Like, what box? Right? We think differently, right? Like, we are the people who create, new cars, new cities, new, inventions. Like, we come up with these new ideas, do things differently because we think outside the box. I love that for us, right? And we find unique solutions. Right? We have the ability to think differently and therefore find unique solutions, things that other people don't see because they're just so busy, kind of staring at the box, right? We can be very high energy. I know for me, like, that one's true when I want to be. Like, I can be high energy when I want to be, right? We are willing to take risks, hence why we can make such great entrepreneurs. I love that. We're willing to take risks. Right? Another one is hyperfocus, right? The ability to hyperfocus, to get in the zone. That is an incredible skill that we have. That is so cool that we're able to do that. Number 20, conversational skills, right? Move over to small talk because we don't give a shit about that, right? Move over small talk, but we can talk deep. We can talk about interesting things. Like, if somebody's passionate about something, like, we can literally learn everything about it from them, or we can share what we're really passionate about. Like, we can be so good in a conversation and it's nothing to do with the small talk, right? Move that shit over. And I like that about us because, like, I hate small talk. So when we find one of our own, when we find another ADHDer and we can have a decent, really good conversation, so fun, right? The next one is empathetic. We are highly empathetic. We can also talk about multiple things at once. So fun, right? Like, when you're having an ADHD conversation and you're talking about like 3 or 4 different things and you go off on tangents, and somehow you usually can kind of circle them back to some sort of a point or like bring them back together, but so fun, right? Our passion for things that interest us. Right? When we are interested in something, we can become a walking encyclopedia of that thing. We can be so deeply, beautifully passionate about it. And that passion is infectious often. Number 25 is our value of fairness and equality. Another session I often do with clients is the values session and helping them to understand what their values are and, how that informs their decisions and why things feel out of alignment, rub them the wrong way, etc. And one of the values that always shows up is our kind of like sense of fairness, our sense of wanting equality in the world. And I love that for us. Next is our good sense of humor. I think we're pretty funny, right? We can make things funny out of thin air, literally. I'm probably not doing a good job of that right now, but you get my point. Next is when we are in, we're all in, right? Like, when we're into something, we go all in, right? Like, that's kind of often our all or nothing. Like, we're either nothing or we're all, but when we're in, we're all in. Right? Another one is our ability to relate to others. so interesting. Like so many of us, I grew up being called like an old soul. Like when I was younger, I was told like, you're such an old soul and all of that. And I think that now was, largely because of my ability to relate to other people and the empathy and the understanding that I brought. But we can just relate to other people. The next one here is that we don't care for small talk. Yeah, that's 100% a positive. I don't got time for that shit. It's so boring, right? We don't care for small talk. Number 30 is our unique ability to read a room or read a situation, right? Like have you just, been sitting in a room, and I've had this so many times, and you can kind of like look around the room and you can see like who's annoyed at who, or who has something else on their mind, or like who's about to disrupt something. Like you can just see what's kind of happening. Such a cool skill to have. Next is our generosity. Like we are some of the most generous, giving humans, seriously. And then there's strong-willed. I was always called stubborn. Yes. We have a young ADHDer in our house, and this morning we were actually talking about his stubbornness, and I was saying how I think it's such a good skill to have. And we were actually talking about it in reference to his mullet. Like I'm talking about a 9-year-old who is growing a mullet and has been growing a mullet for going over a year now. And he hates to brush it. So half the time I'm the one like brushing the knots out of it so it doesn't turn into dreadlocks. But even though his older brother, who is like his idol, is like, you should cut that, it's kind of awful, blah, 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 right? He's just so strong-willed. He is so determined to see it through. Like he likes it. And I love that for him. Like I see that as such a strength, his strong-willed determination, because he uses that when he's like trying to problem solve, when he's trying to like learn something. Like he brings that in, which is such a cool skill to have. So we, my friends, are strong-willed, that's for sure. If you were ever called, what was the word I just said? If you were ever called stubborn, right? Yeah, that comes in real handy, trust me. Next is curious. Curious fascination and interest. Like when we like are intrigued by something, like we just ask so many incredible questions. We are naturally curious people. We want to learn. We want to understand. That is such a cool skill to have. The next one is that we inspire others. I have seen this so many times, right? In my, actually in the membership, in the Navigating Adult ADHD membership, one of the women in there, I saw this on the last call that we had, she was just, sharing some of her wins and sharing, what she's doing. And she was just really inspiring some of the others in there who are, newly diagnosed and kind of figuring all of this out. And I love that because I think that is something that we do without realizing it. So often it's just we're able to inspire other people. Number 35 is we challenge the status quo. We're not just going to settle for it because somebody told us so. We're going to ask the questions. We're going to challenge that. We need these people, right? Next, we're great storytellers. We probably go on a lot of tangents, but we tell some great stories. Then there's multitasking, right? I'm not necessarily saying we're going to finish all the things we're multitasking, but we are very good at multitasking, juggling a lot of balls, doing a lot of things. We also keep things lively, never boring. Yes, we do. And we're adventurous. That's one of my favorites, like adventurous. Often, like we love to travel and, explore new places and do new things. Like we have this beautiful adventurous spirit. So fun. Number 40, we can relate to others. Like we have an incredible ability to relate, even if we haven't been in that same situation. Right? That's one of the things we do is we relate, right? When somebody is telling, an experience that they've been through, often we will try to kind of create connection with them by relating in some way. Number 41, passionate about things that interest us. That passion goes deep, right? When we are interested in something, we can literally become a walking encyclopedia. So passionate, right? The next one is we go all in. Right? Again, that's that all or nothing. We're either all in or we're not. But when we're in, we're all in. We can laugh at ourselves. I do that one a lot. I got to be honest. Like just yesterday, I don't know how this happened, but I went to make a coffee and I like turned on the coffee machine, pushed the button. I must have pushed it twice, I'm assuming, because next minute, I haven't even put a coffee pod in the machine. There is like brown water going all over the bench. And I was like, what in the hell? So anyway, I somehow made a coffee without coffee and made a shit of a mess everywhere, right? So I did that. And then I eventually made my coffee and I went to get some almond milk to like undo the almond milk carton to pour it in. And as I'm unscrewing the cap on the top of the bottle, I don't know what I did, but somehow I managed to drop it in my boiling hot coffee. I was like, seriously? It's 8 o'clock in the morning. What is going on here? So yes, our ability to laugh at ourselves is, yeah, it's there. I was laughing at myself a lot yesterday. Next is our willingness to question why. You know, like those toddlers, like people make fun of toddlers because they're always like, why? Well, I'm sure I was that toddler and I never grew out of it because I'm always asking that question. Why would we do it that way? Right? Why wouldn't we do it this way? Why are we doing this at all? Like this seems pointless. Why? Oh, you like doing that? Tell me why. Like what led you to that? Like we are just love to ask that question, right? Again, so curious. Next is our natural leader. This is number 45. Like when we want to be, right, and in the right settings, we can really be a strong natural leader. I have seen that so many times for us and it's beautiful. Next, this one's fun. Trendsetter. I was thinking about that. I was like, do I see that? Because somebody else like offered that to me and I was like, actually, I really do see that. Like we can be the trendsetters because we're willing to go first and we're willing to do things differently. And I really see that for us. Next up, we are full of surprises. I surprise myself sometimes. Right? But we are full of surprises. Next is we spot patterns. Right? We are able to see patterns that other people might overlook or not even see. We are also fiercely protective of our people, right? Like we will fight to the death for our people we love and care about, fiercely protective. Like I can't even repeat to you some of the things I have said that I would do for my people because it's not okay, right? That protective. Number 50, halfway, my friends. We are willing to fight for what is right. Like we are willing to do that, like loudly, right? I'm like that for like animal, what's the word? Like when people are not cruelty to animals, like, yeah, watch out. Like there was this car one day, right? This random tangent, but here we go. There was this, it's actually a van that came past and I know exactly what that van looks like. Like I like lasered it into my memory. And my cat had ran across the road. So he had been at the neighbor's and he was running across the road. And I was like, oh my God, no, there's a car coming. And like I ran out into the road to like get the cat. And this van, I kid you not, sped up. He sped up when he saw my cat run out, which is why I ran out. And then I was like swearing at him as he like cruised past, like nailed past. But I've got that van like etched into my memory. And I saw it the other day when my partner and I were out walking and I was like, like hold me back kind of thing, right? Because to me, that's not right. Coming back to willing to fight for what's right, like speeding up when you see an animal or a human in the middle of the road, that's not right. All right. Next one is our infectious enthusiasm. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking of one specific ADHD friend. And one time she came to pick me up. I think we were going to the beach or the gym or something. Anyway, she turned up in her car and she was turned up. She must have stopped just before she got to me. And she was wearing a mask and snorkel with her window down. And that's how she drove up to pick me up. It was gold. Right? But it was that enthusiasm, that excitement, and it was just so infectious. Like my entire day was like made from that. It was gold. Next is we love to innovate and improve. Like I am forever doing that. I don't know, you might not have noticed, but just here now in the podcast, I've literally changed the intro and the outro. I'm like, I don't like listening to a long intro, so I just made it super short. I was like, let's just make it short and sweet. What do they need to know? That's it. Right? Like innovating and improving, that is something that we are constantly doing. And I think we're really good at doing that because we love to do that. Next is we are fiercely independent thinkers. Yes, we are. We also love learning new things. So many of my clients, if they've done the, is it the strengths profile? It's from Penn State, is it Penn State University? Where Martin Seligman's like test. Anyway, I'm butchering the name of it, but whatever. One of the strengths that it tests for is a love of learning. And so often in ADHDers, that one is really high up, like in the top 5, because we love learning new things. To us, that's interesting, right? Like that fuels our interest-based attention system. Number 55, we are great at cheering others on. Yeah, we are. I love that. Next is we easily connect with other people, right? Like we can easily just kind of connect with somebody, like in a conversation, like somebody new that we're meeting. You know, if somebody starts at your job and they're like new, like you can easily connect with them. Next is we are funny. Right, as my friend demonstrated when she turned up with her mask and snorkel in the car, driving like that. We're funny. We can also talk about multiple things at once. That's a skill. Yeah, we can. We are loyal friends. And number 60, highly observant. Right, again, we see things other people might not see. Like we are very observant. It was so funny. When I was younger, I used to do this thing where I would like memorize number plates just for a short period of time, just in case I needed them for some reason. Very weird, but again, part of my observation skills, I guess. Next is our ability to dream and have big visions. Like we need those people, the people who can dream, who can think big and think of like big, like wild, incredible visions for the future, for the world, for themselves. Then we've got our strong sense of justice, right? Like that wanting things to be just and fair and equal, right? Strong sense of justice. Next is our perseverance. I see this so much in the people that I get to support and the people I meet with ADHD is our perseverance, right? They're not quitting. Then we've got natural charm. It was so interesting. I did a strength session actually last week with a client. And she said, people always say that to me, like I have a natural charm. And she said, but I don't recognize it. And I was like, yeah, I can really see that for you. That's so interesting, right? Like we have a natural charm. And I think for me, it's something I can turn on and off. Sometimes I don't want it on. Number 65, willing to try new approaches. Like we are willing to try doing things differently, approaching things from a different way, different angle. We see opportunities where other people see obstacles, right? That makes me think like, you know, the whole saying one man's trash is another man's treasure. I think I've shared the story before where I saw this piece of furniture on the side of the road when I was going for a walk. And it's like this kind of shelving unit that had plants on it because you could see like the saucers and the plant dust and stuff. And it was like a gross mess. But within 24 hours, I had literally, my partner's like, you can't take that home. Like, that's horrific. Hell no. And I was like, 24 hours later, I had sanded it, painted it, crisp white, covered it with beautiful lush green plants. Like, you would not know it was the same piece of furniture, right? Like, I saw an opportunity and somebody else was like, this is a piece of furniture I need to get rid of. Like, this is an obstacle in my house. I was like, hell no. This is what I've been looking for, right? So yeah, again, we see opportunities where others see obstacles. Next is we have a low tolerance for bullshit. Yeah, we do, and I like it. We're also able to improvise. Like, again, that's our creativity. We're able to improvise, and creatively so. Next is we're very resourceful. Number 70, we are often great with animals and nature. I see this so much. Right? Somebody I've recently started working with is, spends a lot of time on the farm and with horses, and that's kind of, her meditation, her happy place. For me, it's the cats, right? And there is actually studies that show if an animal is like on you and purring, it helps you to regulate your nervous system. So it helps you to, dial back your anxiety, your stress, all of that. Like we're often great in nature and with animals, and I think that helps our nervous system and helps us in our ADHD hugely at the same time. Next is playfulness. We can be very playful. And we're also the life of the party when we feel like it. Like we can literally be the life of the party. Our ability to inspire others with our stories. And we're highly observant of the world around us. Number 75, we are skilled at finding humor in everyday life, as my coffee story yesterday morning demonstrated. Our willingness to try new approaches. I feel like I already said that one. I might have. I worried this might happen. We see beauty in the little things that other people miss. Our courage, like our courage to take risks that other people might shy away from. Our natural ability to uplift other people. Number 80 is we are always up for an adventure. Yeah. Even when I was like putting this list together, I was like, yeah, definitely. I love me an adventure. Like just the other day, a friend in Hawaii messaged me and she's like, hey, we're going away for like a month. Do you think you'd want to come over and house sit? And I was like, I'm looking at flights right now. She's like, whoa. And I was like so serious. I was like, oh my God, adventure, right? We have a great imagination. That is so true. Our artistic expression. Like I found this one hard to put into words, but like so many people, out in the world creating art are neurodivergent, have ADHD. So, our artistic expression in like terms of music and art and writing, our ability to create and express our thoughts, our feelings, our ideas in an incredible way like that, right? I love this one. Next is thrives in high stimulation environments, right? That's why many ADHDers make incredible like emergency services workers, right? Like firefighters and paramedics and, these sorts of things, because we can really thrive in that high stimulation, fast paced kind of environment. Our ability to master skills quickly when we are interested. That one's cool. Like if we're interested in something, like we can master the shit out of it real quick. Number 85 is we can accomplish a lot in a short period of time. You know it, my friend. There's nothing like a deadline, right? To get 3 days worth of work done in 3 hours. Ask me how I know. We can become an expert in niche topics, right? When we're interested and passionate about something, we can literally become a walking encyclopedia on that thing, right? Like this time that I got really sidetracked one night. And I became like a walking encyclopedia of what is at the bottom of the ocean. Now, it's funny because I haven't needed that information again and I've forgotten so much of it. But like I became obsessed with like, what's at the bottom of the ocean? How deep is the ocean? What lives down there? All of this. And that's just some random niche topic that I became an expert on very quickly. Next up is we are deeply compassionate. We are also good at reading people's emotions. And we're often the go-to person for advice. I find that one so fascinating, and I notice it in so many of us that people come to us because of our compassion and our empathy, our ability to relate, but also they come to us for that advice. Number 90, we're able to simplify complex ideas for other people. That's a cool one. Yeah. We are the idea generators. Like we have so many ideas. Right? We are idea generators. We're also great at making other people feel seen and understood. That one's beautiful. We can easily connect with a wide range of people, right? I really did notice that when I traveled. Like it didn't matter where somebody was from, how old they were, like the color of their skin, anything. Like I was able to connect with everybody from all walks of life and it was beautiful. And I love that for us. Like we can just easily connect with these people and chat and, find things in common and relate. It's just so fun. Next is we're good at diffusing tension with humor. Yep. 95 is we can sense when someone else needs support. Like we have a good sense for that. Next is we can work well under pressure. We have a knack for finding shortcuts or hacks. We are good at predicting future trends. And we have the ability to see multiple perspectives. Like I know when somebody's like arguing about something, like I can generally hold my perspective and their perspective, or I can hold like the other two people, like a couple of people's perspectives and kind of like, see it from different angles. Now, I'm going to give you an additional one before I hit number 100 because I think I doubled one up in there. And that is, we are fast processors. Like, our brains make connections at lightning speed. Okay? Especially when it's something like we're interested in, right? And number 100, yes, my friend, 100 positives of ADHD. Number 100 is that we make the world a brighter, more exciting place. I'm going to add in bolder, brighter, bolder, more exciting place. Hell yeah, we do. All right. So in case you needed the reminder today, my friends, as we all do sometimes, this was 100 positives of ADHD. Now, don't forget to save your seat for that upcoming masterclass, that live class that I am running. You can click the link in the episode notes here, or you can head to navigatingadultadhd.com and save your spot. Can't wait to see you. All right. Huge love, my friend, and happy 100 episodes to us. Hey friend, if you want some more help navigating and thriving with ADHD and some help applying everything that you're learning here on the podcast, then head over to our website, navigatingadultadhd.com.